Well, Bolu, the most talked about name in football today as we speak is Ghanaian referee Daniel Ni Laria. And a little wonder why he's trending worldwide. No prizes for guessing. Is because of that shambolic, disgraceful, atrocious, display that we saw in that match, the semi-final of the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Morocco beating Nigeria via penalties. Yes, I'll touch on other things, but first and foremost, that referee should never ever be in the spotlight when it comes to any big game in the continent or even outside of the continent. That was not a good representation of the referees that we've seen so far at this particular tournament. I say this time and time again that when there's a football match and fans don't even know who refed, know that the guy did a fantastic job. But anytime there's a football match and the referee is the most talked about person on that field of play, they know that he did a very, very shambolic job. And that's what, Dan Nilaria did when Nigeria lost against Morocco. Yes, Richel, maybe he should have made some substitutions, early enough. Maybe, we might question the kind of substitutions he made. Maybe we might also question what time he brought on Samuel Chukwueze. Maybe we needed Samuel Chukwueze's trickery, pace, dribbles, and then, dazzling, maybe for extra time when the Moroccans had no legs again in defense. You can talk about all of that. At what point did he bring on Paul Onacho? Osimhen was already limping. He left Akko Adams, on the field of play for far too long. And when he would make that substitution, he brought in Fisayo Dele Bashiru, really did not have a mark on the game. You can question a lot of things, but you see, that officiating really, really, really affected our boys. Kudos to the boys. Oh, fantastic. Holding the Moroccans and taking them down to penalty in that kind of game where all odds were stacked against you. You even look at the yellow card Calvin Bassey got. Calvin Bassey was pulled by his jersey was pulled by Brian Diaz, and then in trying to adjust himself, he falls down and his hand catches the outstretched arm catches Brian Diaz, and guess who gets a free kick? Morocco. Meanwhile, Brian Diaz pulled Calvin Bassey's jersey. They get a free kick, Calvin Bassey get a yellow card. Brian Diaz had a more dangerous tackle against Bruno Yemechi, and he did not get a card, for that twice. The Moroccans kicked the ball away after the referee had blown a whistle for an infringement on Nigeria twice and did not give anyone a card. In fact, their first shot on target, the first save that Stanley Nwabali made, they pulled down Ademola Lookman, in their own box, blatantly, very clear, and the referee just waved play on, and then they had their first shot on target. I can go on and on to pick out, scenarios where it was as if the referee just wanted to hand, the victory to Morocco. It shouldn't be. The whole world is watching. The first semi-final, Senegal against Egypt, it was a case of the better side won. The referee allowed the game flow, tackles flying in, both teams coming out with intensity. And you could see that the Senegalese were the better team on the night. And that's why they won. And they're in the final. But you can't say the same for Nigeria against Morocco. If the referee had allowed the game to flow, then I'll tell you that the Nigerian boys would have, put in more effort, take the ball, run with the ball, knowing fully well that, if anybody pulls me down, I'll get a penalty or I'll get a free kick, or the referee, is not biased. That referee, Daniel Ni Laria, is the most biased referee. In fact, the last time I saw this kind of, one-sided refereeing was it Ovrebo? Yeah, Ovrebo. Chelsea against Barcelona in the UEFA Champions League. I know. Morocco in the final. I don't wish Morocco win it. Before now, I was saying, I would love to see Morocco win it. Remember, Bolu, at the last AFCON, I was rooting for Morocco to even win it before they got knocked out in the knockout stages. And I felt, this will be their turn. They are hosting to win. But with this kind of officiating, I'm not supporting Morocco. Even if they win it, I'll really not feel that great any longer. I'm Team Senegal. Yeah, I'm Team Senegal right now as we speak, supporting Senegal because Senegal have pushed into this final with little or no favors. If you check and track back this tournament, Comoros, Morocco got a shady penalty which they missed. Was it Tanzania? Even against Cameroon, you can pick officiating, supporting Morocco to return. It shouldn't be that. You must not host to win. You must host it. To give Africa a brilliant showpiece. With the talks that, oh, they are not criticizing our stadiums and all of that. This officiating, huh, is one of the worst officiating I've seen in my life. And kudos to the boys. Kudos to the boys. I don't know what will happen to Eritrea going forward. I don't know if the NFF will renew his contract and keep him, because we are not going to the World Cup. It means that the next time we have anything meaningful to really play might be maybe later this year after the World Cup. If the qualifiers, will pop up. Maybe they'll ask him to go. I hear some teams are already looking at him. I hear maybe Tunisia or so are looking at maybe $100,000 per month for him. I don't think the Super Eagles are paying him that much. He has put himself on the world map, especially on the African scene. He'll get some good deals, and these players, I don't know. Third place doesn't work for me any day, anytime, and then we are not going to the World Cup. So let's just see how we can rebuild, regroup, and Nigerian team moving forward. Let's see how we can get something out of this crop of players. That's the younger set in this crop of players, but that referee really, really messed Nigeria up.